So again, as in all of our programming recommendations, we think that effort is one of the primary considerations, should be one of the primary considerations for programming. We think that the best way to do this is using some auto regulation like RPE, so ratings of perceived exertion, or repetitions in reserve. Those can be combined together, where, for example, if you program somebody to do a set of squats at RPE 8, that would correlate to 2 repetitions in reserve. So we think for resistance training, most of the compound exercises should be programmed in the RPE 6 to 8 range, so somewhere between 4 to 2 repetitions left in reserve. For isolation or single joint movements, like a biceps curl, for example, we think a little bit higher RPE rating, so 7 to 10 would be the recommendation. So 3 repetitions left in reserve or less. And then as far as conditioning, at a relatively low volume of conditioning, I actually don't think it matters much how hard or easy they are, just so long as you do it. Just because, again, if we're thinking about 2 hours a week total, that's just not that much conditioning. But if somebody is limited on time, to your point earlier, oh, I can't do 2.5 hours per week. There's no way I can do that. But 75 minutes per week, I could probably do that. Well, now there's a consideration like how hard should those things be? Probably in that RP 7 to 8 range or higher. As far as the heart rate is concerned, really depends on how you're setting up those efforts. You would think somewhere north of 80% of your max heart rate. We did a whole episode on high intensity interval training, talking about ways to program different intervals and also the differences between high intensity intervals and sprint intensity interval training. I think the problem with most people doing high intensity interval training is that they think it can only be sprints, and that these sprints are done at all out efforts, when the reality is that the best inclusion of high intensity interval training or sprint, even sprint intensity training, is that they're not all out or maximal efforts. They're at a particular pace for a particular purpose, which is similar to strength training. Most of your strength training efforts should not be at all out efforts or maximal efforts. They should be programmed in a way to elicit the desired adaptations. And there you go. And if you're a person who's like, no, I want some nuance here,